And hello, my name is Ben. Thank you for joining me. This is just a quick review on this last episode of the Clone Wars, Season 7, Episode 11, Shattered. So, just a quick review on it. I wanted to give my 2 cents on just how much I enjoyed this one and how intricate this episode was, and how I think how they are paying attention to a significant amount of detail in prepping it and to make it act as a contemporary component to Revenge of the Sith. And one of the biggest takeaways, of course, from this was you get to see a scene from Revenge of the Sith, and you see their reactions and such, and all the things and how they kind of treated Ahsoka and how she left and all that. But one of the biggest things that I recognized from this is that they're kind of Mace Windu. Most of what happens with Mace Windu. And what happens with Mace Windu is that he's at least from what I gathered, is that he's really on his guard here. And I think it's because both he and Yoda, they're kind of the two top dogs of at least of the Jedi Order at this point. They're the ones who are kind of overseeing everything from Coruscant, or at least not Coruscant, but all of they're the two who are kind of overseeing everything. At least that's how I interpret this. And it seems to me like they're experiencing the dark side for the first time in in a long time, or ever. I mean, have they ever sensed the dark side at all? It's like, I'm sure that that Yoda has, but has Mace Windu ever felt the dark side? It's kind of one of those interesting moments where you kind of think about, because they've been gone for 1,000 years, 1,000 generations, right? That's supposedly how long they've been. So the point that I'm arriving at is that Mace Windu is on his guard because for the first time he's feeling the dark side. For the first time, Mace Windu is feeling it. He's experiencing it. And he's quick to turn Ahsoka away when Ahsoka says, "I'm just merely a citizen," and she does sever that moment when Yoda is saying to her, "So there's room for you to be a Jedi still," and he alludes to that. He kind of gives her a moment to allow her in, gives her an in to an opportune moment to say okay. And she declines immediately, pretty quickly. And so Mace Windu is able to, okay, fine. If you're going to do that, then I'm going to shut the wall down too. I'm going to guard the wall. So the point that I'm getting at is that it seems to me like he really is putting his guard up, and he's realizing. And that's why right after this moment, right after that scene, that's when he takes off, because he leaves right after that. And he actually declines Anakin. He stops Anakin from going. Anakin's wanting to go, and he's like, "No, I feel, I sense the dark side," and he can feel it. Anyway. That's what, because I just recently watched Revenge of the Sith, and that's what I'm arriving at. So anyway, let me know what you think. Do you kind of see that's kind of, I see what's happening. So I get a lot of that. We see that maybe Mace Windu and Yoda and all the other Jedi are experiencing the dark side maybe for the first time, and this may be their first experience, because it's been 1,000 generations apparently, and they've been able to cloud everything, as Yoda said beforehand. He had said before that the dark side clouds everything, and so it's actually the dark side in and of itself has been able to cloud their judgment and make them not be able to see the dark side. It's like they've actually been able to conceal it, at least. And they explain that more in the Darth Plagueis book. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of arrive at that. So that was my favorite part of this episode, is kind of, at least that's how I'm kind of seeing what's happening there. And the second part was when Ahsoka and Rex, the build that happens between them, their friendship that builds between those two, and what those two go through in their experiences together, and how Ahsoka basically says, that she has a quote. She does a Qui-Gon Jinn quote where she says that the Jedi are supposed to be keepers of the peace, not warriors, and all I've known is to be a warrior. And then Rex retorts with, well, that's all I've known. So anyway, it just, regardless of any of that, just makes it a very interesting episode for those reasons. And there's a lot of build. And so the heartbreak is real in that when he turns finally. So, but I did want to kind of just go over some of this and try to make this as quick as possible. But one thing to notate is that in the last episode that we had with their battle with Ahsoka's and Maul's battle is that Maul did come across as arrogant to her, and that's what he said. He pointed out that she has Obi-Wan's arrogance, and that he kept on trying to drive the fact home that if they could destroy Sidious together, and that's what his continuous effort will continue to he's going to continue to perpetuate that same narrative, is to try to get Ahsoka to help him to defeat Sidious. So Bo-Katan watches the Maldalorians. I call them Maldalorians, but it's the Shadow Collective, and well, actually, they're helping with Ahsoka's the Ahsoka Squadron. Watches the Maldalorians or their Shadow Collective being hauled away, and Bo-Katan is impressed with Ahsoka capturing Maul, and Bo-Katan is at a loss when remembering her sister's idealism when she's talking about Satine, and so they have their moment here. And talking about how, and so there is some depth that is developed with Bo-Katan here, which is nice because she's definitely been kind of a one-dimensional character for the most part, and so it was great to see that. It was great to see some of that, her having some sort of regret about her warrior, her complete and all-out warrior attitude. Her all she's cared about is her people, which is great. I think she's a valiant character, and they could have done more with her. That's just all, because I actually love Katie Sackhoff and I love this character. I thought she was cool in Rebels, but anyway, Mace Windu says that the sense to plot to destroy the Jedi, and I discussed this already. I'm going to go right past this just because I thought that was the main thing that I kind of wanted to drive home about that. And it was the biggest part about this scene that I wanted to make sure that in drive home is that they do mention, she says something to the light of, I wanted to speak with Skywalker, and they're like, did you have something to say to Skywalker? And she's like, no. So she doesn't want to pass any information off to them, even though Darth Maul had mentioned Skywalker and saying that he was the key to everything. And what does she say here when she talks to Rex? Rex is like, come on, why didn't you didn't say a word? And she's like, yeah, I didn't, I'm not going to give that information up, which is kind of interesting, meaning that she could have changed the course of history. She could have changed the course of maybe even Anakin's turn, which is kind of an interesting moment there. There could have been a big change there, which is crazy. So anyway, it's really crazy to think about because this character was written after the fact. Ahsoka was written way after the fact. It's kind of crazy to even think about. Anyway, so that's the scene from Revenge of the Sith. It's direct quote from there, and there's a lot of musical quotes from here. The whole music from this episode is very Blade Runner, very very just empty and ethereal, very just moving and suspenseful. And Yoda congratulates Ahsoka and says that she is merely a citizen concerned. They mention the Chancellor and she is curious, and that they say that the Jedi is those only Jedi's. This is Jedi matter only type of thing. And Rex says that she didn't inform about about Anakin Skywalker. And then, of course, we have Maul in his Hannibal Lecter compartment, and that's kind of fun. And Bo-Katan says that the box was a relic of another time when they had to use them to hold. She says when they had to use them to hold force wielding maniacs. She's talking to Ahsoka, you force wielding maniacs, like that. So the music is very cinematic. Ahsoka and Rex jump into hyperspace with Maul. And there they are in jumping off into their. I'm not sure where they're headed, but forgive me, I can't remember what they said. So, but we are supposed to be keepers of the peace. This was my other moment that I was talking about before, and Ahsoka had pointed out to Rex that they, we're supposed to be keepers of the peace, and Rex retorts with that, that we're, we were bred to be warriors, and I would be nothing without it. And so that was a great. I love that moment actually because they define each other's purpose in life. And they're both kind of people without parents, so they're both kind of orphan type situations, and they relish in each other's friendship, and so the friendship is really built there. So much suspense in this episode, and of course we have our moment where we hear what happens with them, with the the biggest turning point when Anakin turns. And so, I mean, here we have, it makes you wonder, does Ahsoka know? I guess something as terrible has happened. So I guess she does kind of know what happened. So as this happens, as we know right here, what happens here is that Obi-Wan is getting shot at by Cody, while Rex is turning on Ahsoka. And so this was a great moment. Anyway, so they have, of course, the execute Order 66 and all that stuff. So I just wanted to kind of, illustrate my important and exciting moments to this episode. I absolutely love this episode. And I thought that they were going to team up together, but of course, Ahsoka just expresses how she just needs him to be like a tool. Basically, I need you to be, wreak havoc. It's kind of a funny moment. I do want to see them end up fighting alongside each other just because. And so she ends up finding out, of course, these things. And we all know the story, but I just wanted to kind of illustrate my most important parts. Would you be a Sith, a Jedi, or a gray Jedi? And I would be probably a gray Jedi, because that's what Luke Skywalker kind of falls on. There is no dark side nor light side. There is only the Force. I will do what I must to keep the balance. There is no good without evil, but evil must not be allowed to flourish. There is passion, yet peace. There is serenity, yet emotion. Chaos, yet order. I am the wielder of the flame, the protector of balance. I am the holder of the torch, lighting the way. I am the keeper of the flame, soldier of balance. I am guardian of balance. I am a gray Jedi. So that is my thing. I think that's what I would be. Hail to you. Thanks for joining me. My name is Ben. This is the Fanatics of Film. Please give this video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe. Thank you so much, and have a splendid, wonderful day, and may the Force be with you.